Good evening, Ruskin Jewelers. Hope you're doing alright, 'cause it's time for Profit Review. Last week we discussed the November 14, 2024 Rustor, and that means today we're here to discuss November 21, also known as the Complete the Sets Rustor for 2024. So sit back and relax, I'm going to start yapping. But before I do, I understand some of you might be completely new to this and don't fully understand the focus of the video, so I'll quickly explain everything. Please understand this, with every single Rustor that we see, I will return to it 4 weeks later, and I want to see how everything turned out. Did everything match up to our expectations? And if not, I have to sit here and explain why. Now, of course, with a brand new Rustor, I'm always making considerations for what potentially could be the best investment for the week. So, I can look back over to here, remind myself what I suggested was the best thing to consider investing into, and we can criticise if I was incorrect. Yippee! So, let's get started. What's my initial reaction when I first saw this Rustor? Well, complete the sets, yippee! But no, honestly, I was actually surprised to see Blackout BURLAP actually being accepted, but I wasn't surprised to see the backpacks. Like, after the first Twitch drop skin, the actual first ever skin, which of course was the Abe backpack, that came out during November, the November Twitch drops, as you can recall. But these two right here, the No Mercy backpack and the Hardsuit backpack, they were the first ever marketable backpack skins to be introduced to the game. However, I've been in this position before. I've experienced a situation where the first ever skins appear for a brand new skinnable item, and I knew exactly how it played out. But I'll talk more about that in a bit. Now, back over to Blackout. What? So it kind of reminded me of a previous Complete the Sets that happened in May of 2023. You may recall this Rustor. Now, those Whiteout boots you see there, well, just to quickly point this out, Whiteout's also made by the same person who makes Blackout, and typically both of them have very strong demand. People do really like them. And you may recall this did an absolutely absurd amount of sales, 64,000 subscribers. What happened to this and its sales history was quite disappointing, I guess you could say, initially, but it did eventually recover. And I just couldn't help but assume, with the rate of sales, the momentum that we'll see in this pair of burlap clothing sale, it was like insane. And I was starting to get worried that we're going to see like a repeat of what happened to the Whiteout boots. So I'll talk more about that in a bit when I talk about the predictions. Now, looking at the other remaining skins, well, a Thunder Gold sap, that's looking ever so nice. And the very first thing I suggested was, hey, is that the first ever white sap that we've ever had introduced to the game? No, I was wrong. I remembered we had the No Mercy sap. So I did some comparisons, I made some suggestions. I thought, all right, maybe it might have a pretty interesting future ahead of it, because compared to all the other saps, there isn't really another one that's like fully white. Whereas Thunder Gold and No Mercy, whilst they're white and another colour, I couldn't help but assume maybe Thunder Gold probably could maybe end up exactly the same way as the No Mercy sap. Maybe it'll take some time. Well, of course, we had to consider it. Tempered Collection gets another skin accepted. Not surprised by that. The Armored Door, all right, very cool. But Armored Doors this year, not exactly holding up super great. And I knew that back in November, so I thought, maybe it might just be a barter situation. Toy Thompson, well, that was looking very interesting. And during this period of time in November, Thompsons were kind of starting to recover. We're starting to see more and more of them going up in price. So, all right, maybe that might work out quite all right. Glacial Visage, a very interesting collection continuation. So this was like the first one to be accepted in 3 years. So, okay, yeah, that was nice to see. There's another thing with Complete the Sets. You might see a resurgence with the skin creators getting motivated to return to the collection and making more skins for them. Would that happen to that? I'd like to see it. Berserker boots. I do believe this was the final piece for all the Berserker clothing and armour. Yes, quite literally. So here's the problem though. What else could come out that could give that a boost? We've already had the jacket, the tier 2, the gloves, the tier 3, the hoodie and pants. There was nothing else. But at the very least, it was a complete set. And as you can see, it looks pretty cool. The Berserker collection does sell quite nicely. It is appreciated quite nicely. I thought, you know what? If it doesn't sell too recklessly, maybe it might work out quite all right. So that was a consideration. Another double armoured door. What? Well, it happened. Pixel collection got skin accepted. But was this going to be hunky-dory? Was this going to be A-OK? Because I have been making quite a fuss over the years that we just don't get that many double armoured door skins being accepted. But in 2024, we got 5, of course, including Twitch drops, but 3 of them being marketable. Was that going to be A-OK? Because I was well aware that the Pixel collection isn't exactly super in demand. So, all right, that was something to be a little bit scared of. And then we had the Cargo Heli tools. Nothing wrong with them in terms of their design, but hatchets, pickaxes, I knew exactly how this is going to go down. They're going to get down, like, real cheap, down to about $1. It's unfortunate, but it just keeps repeating over and over again. And, of course, there's always at least one of them getting manipulated. So, all right, yeah, it felt pretty straightforward. So, looking at all of these skins, what was potentially looking to be the best investment for the week? So, I'm going to go hop over to here, and I was looking at all the skins. I could see the sales were going absolutely crazy initially, and I was concerned about that. I thought, you know what, maybe that's just a little bit too much. I was definitely like making a strong point that you probably want to wait until Wednesday if you want to make a purchase of like an investment. Like you could buy the skin if you want it and use it and enjoy it. That's cool. But if you wanted to buy like 30, 50 or 100 of these skins as a nice investment for the future, wait until the next Wednesday. And well, at least the No Mercy backpack was abnormal, but the Blackout Burlap was not. So I had to really get into people's heads, be patient, let it roll out, and then see what happens by the next week. So I was looking at all these skins, I was making considerations, and I thought, you know what? I know a lot of people are going to go super crazy for all of those skins right there, but I actually looked at the Berserker boots. The Berserker boots were the skin that I thought, you know what? If you had to spend your money and really hope that, things would work out all right and you get your money back in the future and whatnot, Berserker boots I thought were the one. So just to confirm that, yeah, I am correct. So with that right there, hopping back, I just want to get this point across. The very thing that I was making a comparison to of these Berserker boots was it going to sell as much or no more than the Berserker road sign gloves? We had the tier 3 initially when this collection first started with its clothing and armor. And the weird thing is, the tier 3 sold more than the hoodie and pants and the tier 2. And now, in the current day, as you can see, this isn't exactly holding up super great. It's, in the negative, whereas all the other skins are in the positive. There's less of these in comparison to the tier 3, and unfortunately, that suffers because there's more of these in circulation. Now, of course, the road sign gloves came out quite a fair bit later compared to all the other skins. But this actually sold a little bit less compared to the tier 2, which was the lowest selling piece out of all this right here. And that just basically doubled in price. It was at $2 when we were looking at this. So I was like, you know what? If we get a repeat, if the Berserker boots sell like around the same amount as the gloves, surely the boots will work out just as like perfectly fine, right? But of course, we had to be patient. Those boots, if I can recall, I don't think they were abnormal. So it was definitely a situation where it's like, you know what? We're going to have to wait until next Wednesday. And I did say that, didn't I? Right, so hopping back over to here. What else did I suggest was looking to be a perfectly fine thing to consider? Pixel Armor Double Door. Like, I know in 2024, we did get quite a lot more Armor Double Doors, including those Twitch drops, yes. But there's still a sheer lack of them. Like, as of right now, I can confirm to you that there are 14 of these that exist. Compare that to sheet metal double doors. Big difference. Anyway, so, all right, there's a sheer lack of them, and people do seem to appreciate them. Surely Pixel Armor Double Door, like, maybe it might be the first one to go in the negative. But even then, I just couldn't help but assume, well, maybe it just doesn't go down that badly. At the very least, it was abnormal. We can just stick with doing a barter. Maybe things might work out all right. So, all right, I don't have to rush into buying it. But there's also a consideration of course, on the day when I'm looking and considering doing the predictions, I just want to get this point across. I could clearly see this was selling like next to nothing, whereas compared to the top 4 skins right here, they are getting all the attention. Everybody's throwing their money at that. But when you look down here, these skins right here just really weren't selling that much. So, of course, in the future, if these do manage to actually retain interest and slowly and graciously rise up in price, that's perfectly fine as investment. Long term, yeah, sure, all right, but a good barter can always lead to some success. So, yeah, I was looking at that double armor door with a bit of interest, a bit of, curiosity. So the next skin I talked about was the Thunder Gold Sap. So as I mentioned earlier, I was under the impression that maybe the Thunder Gold Sap could end up exactly like the No Mercy Sap. So just to quickly go over to here, you may recall No Mercy is pretty much the largest collection we have in this game. And, with like next to no competition in terms of another white sap, that's just progressed ever so nicely as time has gone on. Like, what year did this come out? It came out in 2022. It did 13,000 subscribers. Not a ridiculous amount. But here's the other thing with sap skins. As I recall, back during the summer of 2024, nearly all of the sap skins that came out for this year and last year, they were all practically in the green. But they weren't huge profits. They are like up by 20% each and whatnot. So it's a nice reliable thing to just maybe do a barter on, or maybe just make a purchase and just to retain some funds into a certain spot. Like the Thunder God Sap was looking interesting. Maybe it might go down in price in the future, but I just really didn't think it might go down that bad. So, all right, okay, cool. That's totally fine. So, all right, that's the third suggestion. Now looking at the other skins, what was I actually looking at then? That is when I started to talk about the Blackout Burlap. And this is where I'm going to go over the details in regards to why I just couldn't help but remember the Whiteout boots. So these were selling absurdly. And it looked like it was going to follow in the footsteps of what happened a year ago. And these are the Whiteout boots, as you can see. And this is it currently on the Steam market. Now, first thing first, you might probably sit there and say, Hedge, they're currently in the positive. They're selling at $1.49, and they sold at 99 cents. What on earth are you talking about? Well, they're selling at $1.49 now. If you saw what happened to these when they went through their first quote-unquote bad time, you'd totally understand. So as I go over to here and show you the sales history, you might notice it just drops down instantly. Look at that. So I brought up this point. I couldn't help but assume the Blackout BURLAP was going to emulate the exact same behavior as the Whiteout boots. These sold absurdly, and then after, that initial period of time where they just came out and people were interested in them, then people started to unload huge, fat stacks of quantity on the Steam market. They are competing with each other to make a sale, and this just kept going down and down and down and down and down in price. If I can recall, this had like several thousand listings at one point. It was getting pretty silly. So, all right, you may remember that, and at its cheapest, this was on the Steam market selling at around 45 to 50 cents. Went from 99 cents to about less than half. That's not good. But as time has gone on, because the Whiteout collection is actually in demand and people did actually want to use these boots, yes, there might have been an absolutely absurd amount of them. There's still good demand, and progressively, as time went on, the quantity did slowly go down, and the price just went slowly up. It took a year and a half, but finally, it was back in the positive again. Now, this is the point I'm trying to get across to all the people that were looking at the Blackout BURLAP. Yes, it might look very appealing now. By all means, buy one for yourself, a pair for yourself, use it, appreciate it, enjoy it. But if you're looking at it as an investment, you have to be very, very, very concerned. So, all right, cool. I looked at that and thought, you know what? I know it wasn't abnormal, but even then, I'm probably just going to stick with doing a 50-cent buy order, something like that. Like, I knew confidently, if it was going to get silly, that was how I was going to approach it. So, all right, cool. We've learned from the past, and I just couldn't help but assume it was going to happen all over again. So now, hopping back over to the predictions, I then looked at the Toy Thompson. Yeah, I thought that looked pretty cool. I thought it standed out. Like, just to quickly show it to you once more, a very interesting standout design. And you might remember the batteries not included MP5. That's still selling very nicely at the moment, even though it came out years ago. And this design was like very, very, very similar. Maybe this might work out in the same vein, but of course, a skin that came out 4 years ago is obviously going to perform better compared to a skin that came out recently. And they weren't exactly in the same collection, but hey, it was a nice little thing to remember. So, looking at that, and then reminding myself that, yeah, the Thompsons at the time were starting to recover, maybe that specific Thompson right there, the Toy Thompson, stood out so much so that people would appreciate it. You may recall we had the MK Ultra Thompson, and that was super colourful and very unique compared to everything else. Still in the positive right now, and it was in positive back in November. So, yeah, maybe things might be okay. Don't assume it was going to be like making huge profits, but something that would reliably retain value over the course of, well, forever, I guess. So, yeah, whilst all of these skins were getting all the attention, all the skins down here selling reasonably. So, would this sell a reasonable amount? If I can recall, on the day when I was looking at this, I thought around 15,000 subscribers would be a reasonable amount. So, we'll leave it at that. That was something I thought was looking pretty interesting. Now, moving back over to here, I then can remind myself the Glacial Facade sleeping bag. So this looked really cool. I looked at this in-game. It stood out very nicely. Not much else compares to this in terms of its interesting neon glow. Ah, yes, the frosty ice cold. So yeah, that looked cool. That looked nice. And I thought maybe, just maybe, Mr. Tricks might feel invigorated to return to his collection and produce some more skins. Or, maybe just do a resubmission. Just, oh, okay, your sheet metal double door was never accepted. Why not just resubmit it? Go, give it a shot. But, was it going to happen? Don't know. And then I looked at all the sleeping bags that came out so far up to this point in the year, and I thought, you know what? They're not really selling like crazy. And like every single bag has a bit of a story to it. Valentine's. We got 2 Valentine's bags for some strange reason, but this sold significantly less, and it ended up quite all right. And this sold a little bit too much, but the design of it, Giorgio over there, very, very silly. People still love it to this day, even though it sold a lot more. It at the time was selling for around evens. Snakebite sleeping bag, bit counterintuitive with its design. Green sleeping bag, cool, but it glows in the dark. Oh, so wasn't exactly holding up very nicely. Sleeper Baguette wasn't exactly doing super bad at that specific point. It was down by like 10%-ish. So it was fine. I remember when I first looked at it, I thought, yeah, let's just stick with an Abarda. So the price that it was at, it was fine. And if I can recall, we had a very similar amount of like food-related sleeping bags. And during the summer, this previous summer, they did go up in price quite nicely. So yeah, I mean, that was going to be a nice slow rise in price. And then Ultramarine, it was just doing good because it's Ultramarine. People love the Ultramarine deplorables. Frankenbag, holiday themed skin, not looking super good. But yeah, holiday themed skins, they don't really tend to hold up very well. So this was right here. I was looking at it and I thought, it's a very interesting, cool looking design. Maybe it doesn't sell too much. Maybe we do see a collection continuation appear afterwards. Maybe that could work out okay. But again, abnormal barters first, and then we'll see, how things turn out afterwards. So, all right, cool. And then, finally, we get to sit here and talk about the backpacks. Now, I will talk more about this specifically in a second, but I have seen, as I said earlier, new skinnable items come out, or items become skinnable, and initially their first skins that come out, everybody's like super amped up and hyped up, and they're like, oh wow, these have finally got skins now, and they buy tons of them. But I was looking at both of these and I just thought, you know what? I can't help but assume we're going to be seeing a lot more of these. There's still going to be more Twitch drops. There's still going to be more Rustors. We still had Christmas. I just knew we're going to get Christmas skins. So I wasn't feeling super confident, and that's why I left these until nearly last, until I suggested talking about them. So I will talk more about those in a bit. And basically it came to the very last things to talk about. The tempered armored door. Armored doors weren't holding up very nicely. I wasn't feeling that confident. So yeah, it was just going to be a barter situation. Maybe it being part of the temper collection, a beloved collection that's been around for years, quite literally almost 10 years. Maybe it might work out better compared to the other armored doors, but still I fully expected it to go below its restore price. And then the tools, well, nobody really cares about hatchet and tool and pickaxe skins. So unfortunately, I fully believe they're going to end up at around $1. So alright, cool. That was all of that talk. Now let's specifically talk about this again. So hopping back over to here, you may recall I have this video over to here. So yeah, I produced this and I wanted to make a big fuss about. I've seen the L96 and the road sign gloves. Both of those were the most recent items to become skinnable back in 2021. And if I can recall, and you'll see this in this video, feel free to go ahead and give this a good watch. I've basically predicted everything. Go give it a watch. But in short, road sign gloves, they sold an absurd amount. The the initial L96s, they sold an absurd amount. But what happened was we kept seeing more and more and more being accepted afterwards. And suddenly, those initial few skins that came out, whilst they sold a lot initially because everybody was hyped up for them, unfortunately, because more and more and more kept being accepted, and more Twitch drops kept being appearing and whatnot, they unfortunately crashed and burned. Because no longer were they special, there was many more options to take a look at. So I looked at both of these, and I was like, lowball barter, that's how I'm approaching it. Yes, over the course of potentially the next few months, whilst during November, you may recall we had a very good peak player count. I was like, you know what? Maybe over the course of the next few months, December, January, so as long as the momentum of the player count stays strong, maybe they'll retain their prices quite nicely. Maybe. But after that, February, March, April, I can't help but assume they're going to kind of like implode and just die. Not a great way of explaining it, but you know what I mean. Like, things weren't looking very good for them. And yes, they were selling absurdly when I made that video, and they did not stop. No, they did not. So let's just go ahead and quickly showcase to you what it was like when we looked at the first 24 hours of sales. Now, as you can see, the No Mercy backpack, the Blackout BURLAP, they did over 24,000 subscribers. 24 hours. We have seen skins in a Rustore for 7 days, and they don't even get close to that amount. And yet, these 3 skins here, 24,000 subscribers. Followed by the Hardsuit backpack, which did 14,000, which, that's very impressive normally. But then, whoa! And then it just suddenly went down to normal amounts of sales for the remaining skins. So, okay, well, there you go. Yeah, it really did look like these skins were going to sell an absurd amount, and things were, looking a bit worrying. So let's now go ahead and talk about the prices I suggested with the abnormal barders. So here we are on the Wednesday night, the day before the Rustore rotates, and Blackout BURLAP has over 53,000 subscribers for both the pieces. It actually surpassed No Mercy backpack, which still had over 50,000 subscribers. Yeah, those skins sold absurdly. Hardsuit backpack, also selling like almost 30,000 subscribers, but again, like completely overshadowed by these. It barely got a shout. So anyway, looking at the skins here, the other skins sold perfectly reasonable, like nothing, like completely out of the ordinary. But those, yeah, I was very much concerned. So let's go through all these skins. For the abnormals, I looked at the No Mercy backpack and I thought, you know what? The sales are too ridiculous. There will be more backpacks. I'm only offering $1 to $1.50 for a skin that was selling at $3. But as I said, just couldn't help but assume it was going to suffer, especially during the springtime. I looked at the Hardsuit backpack. I was like, it's a $2 skin, and yet, you know what? 70 cents to $1. I know the No Mercy backpack was part of a much more in-demand collection, but the Hardsuit collection, not exactly super in demand, and I just couldn't help but assume it was going to suffer because of that. I looked at the Thunder God set, and I thought, you know what? I feel reasonably confident. I think things could work out quite nicely for that set, and I think we could probably do $1.70 to $2.20. I thought around 15,000 subscribers was reasonable. I thought that was going to be A-okay. So I felt, somewhat confident in it, and I went with a strong buy order. That's exactly what I did. With the Tempered Armored Door, I went with 80 cents to $1.20. I just didn't have that much faith, unfortunately. And it was a $3 skin, so Armored Doors is what it is. I looked at the Glacial Visage sleeping bag, and for a $2.49 skin, I was, I guess you could say, mesmerised with its ever so nice icy blue design at night time with the glow in the dark, and it did just under 13,000 subscribers compared to all the other skins that came out, in 2024. It really weren't that much. So I just thought to myself, you know what, $1.50 to $2, that seems okay. Pixel Armored Double Door, well, it only did just under 7,000 subscribers. So I was like, you know what? I think I'm still going to do $1.50 to $2. Yes, I know Pixel Collection is not that in demand. Very well aware of that. Don't want to sound mean, but I'm just being truthful. I'm well aware of what people think. So even then, I couldn't help but assume with the sheer lack of sales, maybe, surely, hopefully it'll work out all right in the future. So yeah, $1.50 to $2. How low could it potentially go? And will it truly become the cheapest double armor door skin we have in the game? Then with the regular skins, the skins that wouldn't become marketable until the rust are rotated, Blackout BURLAP shirt and pants, they had done absurd sales. It was just short, based on what we could see here, it was just short from the amount that the Whiteout boots had done. But I was like, you know what, even then I can't help but assume the behaviour is going to emulate and it's going to happen all over again. So over the course of maybe the next couple months, maybe these skins will actually do a good job of retaining their value. But inevitably, there will be people that will be trying to make some sales, some profit, and they will start competing with each other, and they will start doing undercutting. And unfortunately, with so many of these available in circulation, it will inevitably go down in price. How much quantity were we potentially going to see on the Steam market with these skins? Well, we'll talk about that in a bit, won't we? So yeah, I suggested only doing 50 cents to 60 cents for the Blackout BURLAP. I looked at the Toy Thompson. Nice design. It only did around 13,000 subscribers at this specific point. So I thought, you know what, $1 to $1.50. Maybe it goes down in price, but you know what? I don't really see it going down in price that much. I feel reasonably confident with it. So yeah, I did $1 to $1.50. Berserker boots. So this had just about surpassed the road sign gloves. And I thought, well, you know what? I think I could still pick these up for a cheaper price. So I did see it working out quite nicely. So as long as the Berserker collection remained in demand, those boots should be okay, because they did not sell that much, but they still sold a little bit more compared to the gloves. So yeah, I suggested 70 cents to 80 cents. And then with the tools, it didn't matter if they didn't sell that much, 60 cents to 80 cents, they're going down to $1. Very sorry to say, but I mean, I've been saying that the very second we first talked about them, so yeah, sorry, but it is what it is. So hopping back over to here, we can now talk about current day, looking at the sales prices. What's it looking like? Well, Blackout BURLAP, the inevitable happened. Blackout BURLAP did end up getting absolutely absurd amount of listings on the Steam market. It did take a while, but now we have 1,353 listings for the Blackout BURLAP shirt. It has gone down below its Rustore price, and other people, well, they exist. 63 listings at 93 cents. Hallelujah. And the Blackout BURLAP pants, to my surprise, they are holding up a little bit better, as you can see, but still quite a lot of listings. Like, what is with this? Why do we see, normally with hoodie and pants and shirt and pants, the pants usually are more expensive? Does anybody have a good answer for that? Well, anyway, as you can see, the amount of listings is pretty absurd, but then you've got this guy over here, 900. 900. What is this man doing? He's not thinking, I'm telling you that, other people. So anyway, at the moment, it's only 88 cents. But as we can recall, with the Whiteout boots, it did take a while, and then they just plummeted. So that was when it went through the first bad time. That, for back then, was, cool, so it survived the summer of 2023, but then when we went through the autumn-fall seasonal dip, it suffered badly. So you see these two skins here? I'm fully expecting them to have a very bad February, March, April time. Maybe during the summer they recover quite nicely, but it might take another, well, year and a half for these to actually do quite nicely. And of course, it's going to be a while. It's going to be a while. Now, we were kind of hoping to see maybe some more Blackout primitive skins being produced, hide clothing, maybe like a bandana, maybe like some leather gloves. Who knows? But that hasn't happened. So we'll see what happens in the future. But the near future, well, let's see if it enjoys January time, because everything's lining up where we're probably going to see an absolutely absurd amount of people playing during January. December's been fantastic. I've been yapping about that more than enough. But yeah, Blackout, it's already starting to go down. So now if you own these, you have to make a consideration. You might want to sell them now whilst you can, because unfortunately they might be going much lower, much, much lower when there's a lot less people playing the game. And of course, that happens usually during the springtime, February, March, April. So that's for your consideration. But the writing was on the wall. I just knew it was going to get very, very similar to that. And just to get this point across very quickly, the Whiteout boot, 64,500 subscribers. The Blackout BURLAP, they did like an extra 5,000 subscribers overnight from abnormals. So, yeah, Wednesday night going into Thursday, ridiculous. But yeah, it got even closer. It's only 6,000 off compared to the Whiteout boots. The behaviour is inevitable. Right, so now we can talk about the No Mercy backpack. Oh no, who could have predicted this? Look at that. We got tons of backpacks after this. Oh no, who could have predicted? Me, I shouted it, I yelled it to you. Alright, so anyway, I actually kind of came back to this somewhat recently, so if I go over to here and look at my YouTube, you may recall I made this video over here, the progress. I made it about a week ago. You could go give this a good watch. So I've seen how things have turned out. Yes, after these two skins, we've got more cool skins. We've got the Blackout BURLAP, Blackout backpack, not BURLAP. And then we got the Hazmat backpack. So yeah, more interesting designs came out. And unfortunately, with more and more options, that of course led to, these becoming less special and more people willing to throw them onto the Steam market. So looking at the No Mercy backpack specifically, I can showcase to you that we have almost 300 listings, and yes, it is going below that $3 price. It had some very strong bars at around like $2.80 and whatnot too long ago. Gone. They're all gone. So, all right, fair enough. I gave you the warning. The behaviour was expected, and it's happened. And this is what it's like now in December. Maybe it might recover in January. That would be nice to see. Maybe you might want to consider selling them if you happen to own quite a lot of them, for your consideration. But after that, once we're past like these borders here, it does drop off pretty hard. And it goes down to around half the price, and then it stops at around $1. So yes, the $1 to $1.50 price, yeah, for the short term, probably, not like good for now in the short term. But along with the Blackout BURLAP, the prices I suggested, it's more of a case of I care more about how low they go around springtime. That's the reason why I didn't talk about the prices here. I fully believe my suggestion of 50 cents to 60 cents for these and $1 to $1.50 for this, it feels like it's going to go down to around that at some point eventually. And if you just go look at these in your own time very quickly, like look at the amount of listings, some of you may be questioning, Hedge, how can you see so many more borders and listings and whatnot? That is Steam Inventory Helper, an extension on Google Chrome. So, yeah, even though it's got all these strong borders here, I still think it's going down. You've got to remember, Whiteout boots had a lot of borders as well, but it also had a lot of quantity being listed. It had a lot of quantity being listed, so we'll see how that turns out. If you have a good theory in regards to how low they'll go, feel free to comment below. I'd love to read it. But yeah, that's what those are like. Now let's talk about the Hardsuit backpack. So, just talking about the Hardsuit collection, not exactly in demand. With the arrival of the backpack, these two skins did go up in price. That was cool, but everything else, meh. So, on the Steam market right now, as you can see, this is not held up very nicely, and it's selling at 87 cents. So my price suggestion of 70 cents, $1, yeah, I removed my $1 barter very quickly. After like 2 days, it instantly went down in price. Instantly. So, oh, yeah, okay then. Now, okay, currently right now, with its price, it's kind of like smack dab in the middle of 70 cents to $1. But you know what? I feel like I could probably pat myself in the back and say, all right, you predicted a good point where it was going to kind of stop for a while, but this is very likely going to keep going lower. At the moment, looking at all the backpacks, I don't think we have another metallic design. So, okay, oh, wrong one. You know what I'm talking about, like a metallic design, nice and shiny, silvery. Yeah, but I just can't help but assume in the future we'll be seeing another one. Maybe we'll get a Damascus backpack. Maybe we'll get a Heavy Knight backpack. I'm just saying, medieval stuff just around the corner. Primitive game mode just around the corner. Just point it out. Anyway, so we'll see. But yeah, if something else like that comes out, that's probably doomed. And with so many of them in circulation, obviously not as much as the Blackout, BURLAP and the No Mercy, but still, it's still got a lot of them, over 30,000. That's not something to like sit there and say, oh, is that it? No, that is still a lot. It's just these did absolutely insane. So whilst there's demand for these that could actually, hold it up for a while, this didn't have that, and it suffered, and it very likely will suffer even more so. So you might want to consider removing your 70-cent barter as well. That's for your consideration, but yeah, I don't think it's going to have a fun future ahead of it. Very sorry to say. With more and more backpacks being introduced to the game, you shouldn't be surprised. Thunder Gold set. So yeah, unfortunately it has gone down in price. A bit sad to see, but there's only 59 listings on the Steam market. Now, if I had to just quickly point out to you, with all the rust skins that we see on the Steam market, typically we tend to see around 100 quantity on average for every single listing. That's the average. And as I go over to here and see that this only has 59 listings, and as I look at it properly, whilst we've got this special, absolutely lovely other person here, the other people, why are you selling 14? Why are you selling now? That's the other funny thing. Why would you sell now? Because with the expected post-Christmas looking to be very, very nice, with the force wipe for January 2025 being January 2nd, with the potential of seeing the primitive game mode potentially coming out for it, everything's kind of like aligning perfectly. The stars are aligning for we might potentially have a lot of people playing during that period of time. For the first week of January, kids still won't be back in school. People won't be working that hard. They're going to have fun playing Rust. We very likely will be having a higher peak player count compared to December, and again, potentially an even higher average player amount for the month. Maybe. We shall see. Anyway, things are looking very good at the moment, and this right here, yeah, I mean, that could easily get bought out, and then it's back up to $2.50. That's like 20 to 30 sales. Yeah, I know. How many have sold in the past 24 hours, by the way? I can't see. Oh, that's a shame. But yeah, that's looking reasonable. It's looking okay. And if this is at its worst, I'm fine with that. I did suggest doing $1.70 to $2.20. But you know what? I put my hands up. I did buy every single one. Like, I put down a $2.15 bar order. I bought every single one. I'm not upset with that. I'm happy. I'm fine. I still bought them cheaper for the Rustle price. But I also did buy 100 for myself. But in the long term, so as long as we don't see any more white saps being produced, and let me tell you, I don't really see that happening, that should just comfortably rise back up in price graciously, nicely, and retain value for the foreseeable future. Let's see how things play out. But yeah, there were a few people trying to sell these to make some sort of money. They got scared or something, spooked. But inevitably, I can't help but assume that'll get bought out, and the price will rise up. People do appreciate Thunder Gold. It's a nice looking set. And with a lot of people buying out Whiteout skins, as you can see, white camouflage, January, lots of people playing. You should not be surprised by this. I'm pretty sure you might have noticed the Comics AK's been bought out and whatnot. People are going to look for other options like nice white skins. Whilst the No Mercy SAP is a perfectly fine looking choice, that right there is cheaper and it's covered in gold. So we'll see how that turns out. Cool. Tempered Armored Door. I suggested, what was it? What was the price? 80 cents to 120. Might have been a bit short, as you can see. But hey, we'll see how things turn out eventually. But no, I was short. So whilst I wasn't super great with the Thunder Gold sap, and yeah, the price went down a fair bit, this one here, I think we can kind of accept it in the same sort of level of Hedge wasn't fully correct here. I can still see this going down in price a bit further. But over the course of the first month in the short term, whilst it has gone down in price, it hasn't gone all the way down. But when you look at the power, the strength of these bar orders here, you might notice that it's kind of small. 8, 13, 17, 18, that's not going to last. When we go through February, March, April, that's going all the way down to about $1. So as of now, my price suggestion with the bar orders, I don't feel too bad about it. But of course, in the short term, it was a bit of a low ball. Bit too low. But I do look at these kind of more in the vein of I care more about the future, the long term. And with Armored Doors, I'm not super confident. Every single Armored Door that came out this year, except the Shadowborn skin, they've gone down in price pretty badly, real badly. And I can show that to you right now. So as you can see, just to remind you, only Shadowborn has done all right. And if you look at it over the past 3 years, whilst that's doing all right, no, and no. For the past 3 years, we only have one marketable Armored Door skin that's currently in the positive, and it looks awesome. Cool. So that right there, hey, You might be going a bit lower, but at least in the short term, I wasn't fully correct. So you can be upset with me if you want to. Toy Thompson. This is currently sitting on the Steam market at $2. It's actually doing a very good job of retaining its value. And with only 30 listings, yes, I repeat, only 30 listings, I'm not at all surprised. And then you look at the buy orders, oh wow, okay then, that's not looking too bad. So my suggestion of the $1 to $1.50 buy order, in the short term at the very least, that looks like it's perfectly fine. However, what happens during the springtime? Yeah, maybe it goes down in price. I wouldn't be surprised by that. Maybe it sticks at around $1.50. I wouldn't be surprised by that. But then, of course, eventually we have the summer of 2025. And this skin right here, I mean, I just can't help to assume it stands out ever so nicely. I can't help to assume that will be, ending up rising back up in price again. How high will it go? Don't know. Is the toy collection, is it, what's the word to say? Currently active? Are there more skins being produced? Little Ranger, the skin creator behind this, he's got like a lot of skin collections. He juggles a lot. And this right here, it has not seen any successes yet, or rather, new skins being submitted for this collection. I'd love to see more, because if I can recall, the hoodie and pants were never accepted. Maybe we could see a version 3. It would be nice. The weapon skins do actually do quite nicely, as you can see here. Not all of them, but, a decent few. They're fine. And that right there probably will emulate that behaviour. Fine is good enough. I'm not going to complain about that. But with a sheer lack of listings, maybe it could go even higher. We shall see. It just won't be absurd, huge profits. Maybe in the further future, I'm talking maybe a decade later, but no. So that's fine. Price suggestion was okay. Let's now move on and talk about the Glacial Visage sleeping bag. So I had some reasonable hopes for this. I thought it looked very nice, but it's currently sitting here at $1. $2. Sorry about it. Hedge. You fool. You talk too quickly. I know. But looking at this, I mean, it's at the point of the suggested price. And yeah, after about 10 sales, maybe it goes back up to the price. No. It's going to be about 20 sales there. But anyway, it's holding up. It's there. It seems to be okay. Maybe you're one of these people here. I think I'm one of them, actually. But as I said, I can't help but assume that I'll still work out quite nicely in the future. Sleeper bags do get appreciated. And for a nice, inside base sleeping bag that stands out ever so nicely at night time, I'm sure that'll still be appreciated and liked. And with a sheer lack of listings, I mean, that still looks like it could rise up in price quite nicely in the future. It just needs a few more sales. Just needs a little bit more interest. Now, initially, this was actually doing quite all right. It was selling at like $3, but it seems to have slumped a bit. Bit sad to see, but hey, maybe January could work out quite nicely for it. So anyway, the price suggestion, I think that's okay, but I'm interested. What will happen during springtime? Will it plummet? Or will it rise up nicely during January and then end up back here again? We shall see. So, okay, cool. Now, I can talk about the next skin, and that will be the Berserker boots. So, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you like the Berserker collection? Obviously, it's supposed to be a reference to that anime. Produced by Vase and Anushka. I mean, I'm not surprised. That man is quite the artiste. But yes, this design, the armour and whatnot, it looks awesome. God, do you remember the Berserker cloak jacket? Ooh! Look at that. Oh dear. But the armour, the hoodie and pants and whatnot, still doing alright. Yes, this isn't exactly doing as good compared to the other skins, but it's only down by like 23%. That's okay. It's not too bad, but, you'd rather it be in a positive. But yeah, these boots right now, let's go take a look at them on the Steam market, because one thing says it's even, one thing says it's below. But no, that's currently evens. And yeah, it's just comfortably sitting there. It's just sitting there. And I've got to point this out to you. When this was accepted, this was selling for like $2. Now it sells at $3. So these gloves, it definitely appreciated the arrival of the boots. That has just been comfortably, slowly rising in price ever so nicely. So yeah, that was cool. That was nice to see for that. Very nice. Cool. All right then. So, Berserker collection, so as long as you remain fairly in demand, those boots should be comfortably rising up in price in the future. Yes, they initially came out, and there's some listings that, it might take a while for it to, rise. But January time, let's see if that gets some appreciation. Let's see if that rises up nicely. And looking at the amount of listings, it doesn't look like it'll take too long. So, all right. It's perfectly evens. My price suggestions seem to be perfectly fine with a 70 cents, 80 cent barter. I actually bought like 50 of these for my 80 cent barter, and I'm not like upset by that. I think I could just hold on to those for maybe a year or two, and they'll probably be selling by at $2 by then. And I'm fine with that. I'm cool. Pixel Armor Double Door. Right, so looking at you. You're actually doing quite all right. All right, well, fair enough. Nice to see. Armored Double Doors, it seems like no matter what, they're going to be all right. And remember, This only had how many subscribers? 7,500. Yeah, cool. So there's only 30 listings. Now, I would like you to talk and sit here and say, do you like the Pixel collection? I know it's not for everyone. I get it. And looking at the the prices for some of these skins here, it clearly shows. Sorry to say, but I mean it's kind of obvious. So yeah, the deplorables as well. Whilst that garage door's doing all right and the double door's doing all right, and the wooden sheet would do furnace yeah. But yeah, no, it's holding up all right. A sheer lack of options leads to this. So yeah, actually, it's a sheer lack of options and a sheer lack of sales. So it just so happens to be perfectly fine with that, like a nice little harmony. So cool, Pixel Armor Double Door. At the moment, you're okay. Your barders are still looking very strong, around $2. So my price suggestion seems to be all right as of now. But what might happen to this during the springtime? February, March, April. Will you go low? Will you get dumped on? We shall see. But as of now, the price suggestions seem to be A-okay. And then we have the tools. Yay! The tools. Yeah, they're just basically matched up to expectation. 60 cents to 80 cents were our barders. And yeah, these are basically sitting here around $1. I'm pretty sure a lot of you probably did buy a bunch of these with your 60 cent to 80 cent barders. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but every pair of tools are like this. What else does it say? Like, it's not the first time I've said this, and the inevitable happened, and now it's happened again. So yeah, tools. Very, 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 very easy to predict. So yeah, that's it. Complete the sets. As you look at it now, there is quite a decent amount of these are in the negative, but it's not too bad. Things could look ever so nicely as we roll into January time. But I've got to bring this up. Really, this is the first time we've ever had to complete the sets in November. Yeah. Normally it's September. And yeah, sometimes, well, most of the time, the complete the set skins do go down in price a fair bit, but they recover nicely during January. So we really are hoping that January works out quite nicely. And as of now, the players are there. But will the demand be there? Will the money be there? Come on, Santa. Give us a lot of Christmas money and so we can spend it on pixels. So we'll see how that turns out. Post-Christmas could be very, very nice, but we shall see. We shall see. So with that, thank you very much for watching me. I greatly appreciate it. With the outcomes, as of now, everything is matching up to expectation. Most of it. While some of the price suggestions were a little bit off, and I will, respect that, it's more of a case of I was definitely looking at all of these in regards to the long term. But yeah, some of these, they still did drop off quite a fair bit initially. So let's hope January is cool, and let's hope we all make some sweet, delicious looking profit. Best of luck to each and every single one of you. Thank you very much for watching my video, and I hope you have a splendid Christmas and a Happy New Year. Catch you later. See you and goodbye.